Welcome to the November meeting of the Utah State Board of Education. And as always, grateful to have public and stakeholders with us. Always appreciate your input and involvement here, behind the scenes, everywhere. So thank you for joining us, and thank you to our board members and staff. We'll call the meeting to order and want to remind and thank our Utah Highway Patrol joining us today, Sergeants Carlos Hawley and Travis Moritzen, and our security officer, Davin Booth. So thank you, as always. Case of emergency, two west doors leading to the hallway. You can exit either way. And let's do the roll call. See who we've got. Member Reel. Member Booth. Member Bogus. Member Klein. Do we have anybody online? Civil or... Okay, not. Okay, Member Davis. Member Green. Member Carey. Member Wood. Member Hymas will lead us in the pledge. Wonderful.
Join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Member Lear. We will turn then to our board member message, which is Member Reel.
Thank you, Chair. I'm really excited for my member message this month, and I have brought a special guest, Principal Milton Collins, if you want to come on up. I visited Lincoln Elementary School a long time, I think before I ran for office, to learn about the South Salt Lake Promise, which is a partnership that some schools in South Salt Lake have for after-school programs and different wraparound services for students, and it's remarkable. And that's not what we're going to talk about today, but I wanted to mention that. But I recently got to visit Lincoln Elementary School and hang out with Principal Collins for an afternoon, and it was so inspiring. Little background on Lincoln Elementary School. There's about 650 students, preschool through 6th. They have about 25 different languages spoken, and most students do not speak English as their primary language. 95% of the students qualify for reduced and free lunch, and they have one of the most incredible school communities I've ever seen in visiting schools. Principal Collins and I bonded over basketball because I was very hyped about the WNBA finals at the time and Asia Wilson. But having toured the school and seeing his teachers and hanging out with the students, my heart was so full because he has built this community of respect and kindness and relationships and accountability, but also focuses on academic excellence, and it was really inspiring. So I wanted all of you to enjoy what I got to enjoy when I hung out with Principal Collins for an afternoon. I wanted him to talk a little bit about himself and his journey, but also talk about how he has built community at his school. There's a button on there.
While they're setting you up, let me just say welcome. Very, very glad to have you with us.
Thank you. Is it on now? Can you hear me? Okay, so after doing the pledge, but Sarah, thank you for this opportunity, but I'm compelled to do this. So I do the pledge every morning at my school. I pre-record the announcements. I get that at 7 every morning, and I pre-record the YouTube channel. If you ever want to see our announcements, go to the Lincoln Bobcats YouTube channel, and I can guarantee you it's a treat, especially on Thursdays, because we do song and we do dance. But after the pledge, we do our motto. I am a scholar. I can get smarter. Our work is important, and I will achieve great things. And then I have all of my staff. We do a treasure hunter's pledge. As an adult and a treasure hunter, I'm committed to search for all the talents, skills, and intelligence that exist in all children and youth. I believe all children are capable of success, no exceptions. That's how we start the announcements every morning. And of course, I would be, if you know me, our Mascot is the Bobcats. I always let out the growl every morning. Good Thursday morning, Lincoln Bobcats. Wow. Now you hear that growl, right? So if you call the district office, I have district office folks doing my Bobcat growl. I called the HR director, and as soon as he see my name pop up, he said, Milton Collins. Wow. He has a growl as well. So it's catchy. I come to you, and I'm once again honored to be standing in front of you. Every time I get an opportunity to speak, I think about my mom. And I got to pause for a second because I lost her 2 years ago, raised by a single mom in Mississippi. I just had a conversation with David, who's never been to Mississippi. He's planning to go. I gave him a place to go in my hometown to get some of the best fried chicken ever. And so he's planning on going. But I grew up in a small town raised by a single mom. My dad died when I was 7. I met him for the first time when I was 6. It was just a guy that my mom had a relationship, and here I am, the product of that. The first time I met him, I was afraid of him. I was running from him. I did not know him. A year later, when I turned 7, my mom came home and said, your dad passed away and you got to go to his funeral. So my dad's funeral was the first funeral I ever went to. I remember this day as almost like it was yesterday because I had no feelings. I knew nothing about his family. And I just remember sitting on the front row at this funeral and with people that I didn't know, and my mom was sitting in the back. I kept looking back at my mom, and I was trying to look in the coffin to see what my dad looked like. That's the thing that I remember the most about that. But when you talk about not, I just feel like I'm not supposed to be here. And I remember LeBron James, when he won his first title with Miami, he stood at the podium, the MVP trophy and the championship trophy, and he said, I'm not supposed to be here. And I was like, what is he talking about? And I learned about his story, being raised by this powerful single mom, which was my mom. And my mom dropped out of school in 8th grade to help her family. She never went back to school to get a formal education, but the smartest woman that I ever met in my life. She pushed me and my brother to do well in school, to respect people, to love people, and have this passion for whatever it is that you wanted to do, but could not help us with any homework or anything like that. She just didn't have those skills. But man, did she push us to be good people and work hard and listen to people. And that's what we done, man. School saved my life. Me and Sarah talked about basketball saved my life. Okay, I am a product of one of those students who, if you ask any young male student right now, what do you want to be when you grow up? What are they going to say? I'm going to the NFL. I'm going to play Major League Baseball. Soccer is very popular. Basketball, any of your sports. That was me. Anybody would ask me, I'm going to the NBA. I really thought I had a shot. And if you look at me, I'm not that tall. And I can remember being recruited by some schools in Mississippi in this small town, Charleston, Mississippi, small town, home of Morgan Freeman. If you know Morgan Freeman, that's my homeboy. But grew up in a small town, and God blessed me with a little talent to play basketball. Had it not been for that, I would not have gone to college. And so I remember being recruited by all of these schools, SEC schools. I really wanted to go to Mississippi State. Don't know why, just Mississippi State. I wanted to go there. And I'm being recruited by all of these schools. And then Rusk College. Rusk College is in Holly Springs, Mississippi. It's one of the oldest HBCU schools in Mississippi right now. And this college coach came to my home to meet with my mom, and he told my mom, he said, I want your son to come to Rusk College. I'd never heard of Rusk College, to play basketball. And everything is paid for, full scholarship. My mom said, where does he sign? I was like, Mama, no, can I talk to you in the kitchen? So we go in the kitchen. I said, Mom, I don't want to commit to this school. I don't know where it is. I want to go to Mississippi State. Alabama's looking at me. Ole Miss. And she said, "Are those schools in my living room offering you a free education?" I was like, "No, but they will." She said, "But they're not. Get back in there and sign those papers." Go back in, commit to Russ College. And, I go to Russ College, and out of 7 players to this day, I'm one of the 7 players to ever start as a freshman. So, yeah, I thought I was pretty good. Thought I was on my way to the NBA. Wasn't thinking about nothing else. No major, no nothing. And so I go to Russ after my freshman year, had a meeting with the coach, individual team meeting with all the players, and he said, "You had a great freshman year. I recruited a guy to Memphis because I don't want you to think that you're the man. You got to work for this." And I was like, "No problem. I got this." And then the second question, he was like, "So what are you going to do with this degree when you graduate?" So, "Degree? What degree? Man, I'm going to the league." And he looks at me and he was like, "What? The league? Like in NBA?" I was like, "Yes." And he was like, "First of all, you're not tall enough. You're not fast enough. You're not good enough." And I'm thinking to myself, now we just went over my stats as a freshman and I'm doing really well, and you telling me no? And man, he broke it down. He was like, "First of all, you're playing at the lowest level, Division III." He was like, "Do you go to your dorm and watch your highlights after the game? Does any reporters talk to you after you score? Is that happening?" I was like, "No." And he just broke it down. He's like, "Do you know how many kids that goes to your Dukes, North Carolinas, Kentuckys who are not going to the NBA?" I didn't know that. I thought that was my path. And so I'm upset. I'm crying. I leave his office straight to the dormitory. "Mama, I'm crying. Mama, please come get me. I don't want to be at this school anymore." She's like, "I can't understand what you're saying." "Mama, come get me. I told you I didn't want to go to this school. This coach just told me I wasn't going to the NBA. I wanted to buy you the big house. You don't have to work." And she was like, "Wait a minute. That same coach that came to my living room and said that your education is paid for?" I was like, "Yeah, him. I told you I didn't want to come here." She was like, "Son, to this day, I have not received a bill from that school. So you stop your crying, go back to class." Click. Hung up. I was like, "Oh my God, my mom doesn't even believe in me." But man, the power of teachers and educators, my college coach knew. And he asked that if I would stay for the summer and work in this summer program. It's a national youth sports program. They brought all of these underprivileged kids onto the college campus to do sports. And of course, I taught basketball. And after that program, he called me back into the office. He said, "There's a buzz about you on campus." All of the kids was like, "I want to go see Coach Collins. He showed me this. I want to talk to him." Right then, he told me, "You are an educator. You're a teacher. You're a leader." And I was like, I don't know. I might just major in mass communications. If I don't make it to the league, I can still be a part of the league and analyze and talk about the game. He's like, "No, you're an educator. You're a teacher." He said, "I guarantee you, if you major in education, when you graduate, you can go anywhere in the country and get a job and teach anywhere." And I thought about that. I was like, that fast, huh? And man, I changed my major. I graduated in June of 1987. In August of 1987, I was teaching 3rd grade at Lorenzo Smith School in Hopkins Park, Illinois. And that's where the journey began. I'm like, I'm in my element. This is what I was born to do. And you ask, how did you make it to Utah? Interesting story. And I'm writing a book right now. I was looking for the title, and before my mom passed away, she helped me with my title. One day we were talking, and I told her I'd been writing and, telling my journey and my story. And she says, "Son, how did you get from Mississippi to Utah?" And I was like, "Brilliant, Mom. That's the name of my book, From Mississippi to Utah." And the journey, because I taught in Illinois for 6 years. Left Illinois, went to Wisconsin, was in Wisconsin for 14 years. I know you guys think it's chilly right now. This is great weather. Even when the snow comes, I'm like, "Oh, man, this is great weather." you go to the Midwest, it's cold, bone chilling, right? And so I was there for 14 years. Then I moved to Arizona. Arizona was my journey here. My assistant principal at the school that I worked at in Arizona, Sherry Kennedy, she's associate director for special ed here. She was my assistant principal in Arizona. And she had an unfortunate death in the family. She moved back here and she stayed in contact with me and she started recruiting me. She said, Milton, you need to come to Utah. I was like, Utah? Well, I don't know about Utah. Wait, Utah? And so I came up to visit, and of course, when you come to Utah, what do you fall in love with? The mountains. I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful, right? And so I made the decision to leave Arizona in a school, a Title I school that I've always worked in, that was in bad shape when I got there, and I just created this culture of love and respect and turned it into this wonderful place. And then I had to leave. And then I come to Utah. Lincoln Elementary School is where I'm the principal. I got there in 2017. We're in the bottom 5% of the worst schools in the state academically, with an accountability score of 32.7. Fast forward to 2023 with an accountability score of 52.9. And people ask, how did you do it? How did you do it? I'm just being me. Listen, when you grow up in poverty, it teaches you to be humble. It teaches you to realize and recognize that you have the power and the influence to influence others. So every day when I walk on campus, I'm in that mindset to help, to share, to love. And I share my story with these boys all the time because they want to go to the league. Man, it's a great journey to want to do that. But man, I'm telling you, man, basketball saved my life. I have a t-shirt right now, Nike t-shirts, basketball saved my life. It really saved my life. But had it not been for that scholarship and my college coach recognizing in me that I'm an educator, because that's the power of education. That's the power of teachers. We see things in students that they don't, and we try to bring it out. So every day when I set foot on campus, I'm trying to bring it out. And once again, people ask, how did you get that score? Okay, so I love people. I love kids. They're my number one. They're the reason why I do what I do. But my staff is right there as well. I love my staff. And if you look at my retention rate, people, when they come to Lincoln, they don't want to leave. Why? Because I feed them. Have you ever read the book, If You Don't Feed the Teachers, They Eat the Kids? And I'm not talking Cafe Rio, Panda Express. You know how we like to feed the teachers, the donuts. No, it's feeding them to their soul. So, and I'm going to stop talking, man. She told me a few minutes, man. I could go on and on, but I get to work at 7. My staff don't have to be there till 8:20. So at 8:20, I walk around to every teacher's classroom. Good morning. How you doing? I have a different relationship with every teacher. There are some teachers I can go in their classroom. We dance and we sing. She has a video, Snoop Dogg, affirmations. Google it. It's the most amazing thing ever. Her 3rd grade class, I go in there every morning. She put the video on. We dance and we sing to Snoop Dogg affirmations. I go to every teacher. Good morning. How you doing? You ready for the day? Some, they have their issues. Can I talk to you, Mr. Collins? Of course you can. I have an open door policy, but I do that every day. And people's like, how do you do that? It's a priority. It's important. That's how you change the culture, when people know that you are approachable. Because the number one reason why teachers leave schools, they don't feel supported by administration. You're not going to get that on my watch, because I'm here to help you. And my teachers would tell you, who's your number one cheerleader? Mr. Collins is my number one cheerleader. That's what I do. And at 8:40, when the bell, long the mic, I talk the mic out. Okay. So I'm at 4 different doors. visiting with students, looking them in their eyes when they come in, because the eyes will tell you everything. And when kids walk past them saying good morning, fist bump, high five, hugs. I know they say hugs are not appropriate. I give hugs. I'm sorry. I apologize if I'm doing something wrong, but I'm a hugger. But fist bumps and I'm looking them in the eyes. And when if I got a kid coming in and something is wrong with those eyes, I pull them to the side. Hey, you doing all right? And you know what? Kids will tell you everything. Mom and Daddy was fighting. I didn't get no sleep. Didn't have no food. Come on, I got food for you. Let's go get something to eat. It's the connection, and that's how you do it. I lead with my heart. I know no other way. My mom taught me that. I lead with the heart. I lead with my heart every day, and that's what I tell educators. You got to lead with the heart, because before you can get into here, you have to get into here. And when kids know that you care about them and you love them and you've created that safe environment for them to be in every day, they will flourish. The academics become easy, but you got to get them there. And when you get them there, you let them know that you care about them. And that's my mission. People know that I care. Kids know that I care. Do I wish that, I stand before you now, I'm 59 years old. Do I wish I could be telling you that I'm a retired NBA player? I do wish. But listen, that was a different plan. And this was my plan. And it's my plan to be here in Utah. I have 2 more years, then I can retire.
No.
But this is my plan. And my mission is when I leave Lincoln, Lincoln is going to be the best school in the country, not the state, but the country, and that's the mission. So thank you guys so much for this opportunity for me to share my story. Like I said, man, I'm currently writing a book. It's really deeper than this, and I'm just giving you just a little taste of who I am. I'm blessed to be in this state. I'm blessed to be at Lincoln. I'm blessed to work at Granite. I've only worked in Granite, so I only know Granite, and I feel like Granite is the greatest district that I've ever worked in because of the support that I get. And when I told Ben Horslath, superintendent, said, because I'm meeting with him today at my school. It was supposed to be at 10 o'clock. And I called him. I was like, hey, Ben, I've been invited to speak at the Utah Board of Education. He was like, Milton, hey, listen, that's way more important than meeting with me. So you go. He's like, I know you're going to wear one of your fancy suits. And I'm gonna stop after this, but there's a story behind the fancy suit. People see me dressed a certain way. It wasn't always like this. I told you I grew up in poverty. We couldn't afford clothes. Kids bullied us, laughed at me and my brother. And I told my mom, I was like, Mom, if I ever get me a good job, people will never laugh at the way I dress. So that's the story behind the suits. That's the story behind who I am. And once again, every time I think about my mom, I get choked up because she's the reason why I'm here and I'm able to do what I do, because of her upbringing and her love and all of the principles that she taught us with the love, respect, and treat people with kindness. So thank you guys so much for allowing me to speak. You're more than welcome to come to Lincoln. I will take you on this amazing journey. I'm telling you, I got 420 of the most amazing little humans that you will ever meet in your life. And they treat me like I'm the Pied Piper. I already know right now they're looking for me. As soon as I get back, Mr. Collins, where were you? Because I go to every classroom every day. So thank you guys so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. You can stay up there just for a second, if you don't mind. Thank you. Now all of you know why when I visited Lincoln Elementary School, I left being like, oh, I am so amped up. I am so inspired, and I'm so grateful that you are in our state, that you are here as an administrator in Granite School District, especially because I'm a Granite kid, so obviously I have a preference. But thank you so much for all you do, and truly, I hope that we can feel some motivation, inspiration from this wonderful principal we have here. So, I don't know.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you for the
Thank you,
opportunity.
Member
again.
Reel. And Principal Collins, just if you can hang for just a second, I don't know if we have questions or comments. I just want to say thank you I'm glad you made it to Utah. I hope you stay. Thank you for enriching the lives of those students, for being an example for all you do. It's contagious. So great pleasure to have you with us. And I just wanted to see if folks had questions, or
Thank you.
I do see a question down there from Member Green.
Where can we find your book and when?
Still in process right now. It's I've been doing a lot of writing in the summertime, and so like I have so much to say, and I'm still the part in my book right now. I'm still in high school, and so I'm in year 38 as an educator. So I got so much more, and so sometimes at night I'll just pick up my pad and just start writing, because I think about my mom a lot, because she was just that person. She was my superhero, and so a lot of it is me really talking to her, and the hard part is not her responding back, and I'm always just kind of imagining like what she would say, and so but yeah, it's in the works.
Okay, well, we'll watch for it. And
Thank
then
you.
Put it on the
Thank you.
billboard.
And
we'll
I'll
go
just
buy
say,
it.
LeBron's great, but if we had kids growing up saying, "I want to be a Mr. Collins,"
Oh.
we'd be in good shape, right?
Oh,
That's a high target, but an achievable one, and
Thank you.
and a great service. So thank you for your work. And okay,
Thank you.
we're good. Thank you much. I think we're wrapped with Member Reel, so let's go to our education highlight with Kelsey. Floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Chair Moss. Kelsey James, Board Communications Coordinator. We have a interesting education highlight this month because it will kind of be combined with our acknowledgement of student art. So you're getting a 2-in-1 special today. If I could invite Benji and Andy and Molly to come up to the table here. I'm sure most of you know Benji here at USPE. He does a lot with our youth and care students and programs, so he's kind of our subject matter expert there. And then our two special guests, we have Andy and Molly. They are with the STEMCAP program through the University of Utah, and I'll let them kind of introduce themselves more while I get the slides up here. If you just press the button on the microphone that kind of looks like a person talking, then I will turn the mic on for you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Andy Eisen. I'm the Director of Prison Education at the University of Utah, and as part of that work, I oversee the STEM Community Alliance Program, or STEMCAP.
And I am Molly Hosmer-Dillard. I'm the art manager for STEMCAP.
Wonderful.
Thank you for, okay, you're live. Just, all right, cool.
We're good? Okay, great. First of all, thank you so much for this opportunity. Excited to be able to share with you some of the work that we've done with justice-impacted youth over the last 8 years, the existence of STEMCAP. So I'll start off, I'll give a very brief overview of some of the work that we've accomplished, and then Molly will focus on the artwork that she creates with justice-impacted youth. So we can move to the second slide, please, when you have a moment. Just would like to share our vision with you all. Our vision is to provide high-quality science and arts classes, workshops, and mentorship opportunities to justice-impacted youth in Utah. Our next slide shows our team, which consists of 7 folks. We have staff, graduate students, and undergraduate interns who work with our program. Go to the next slide, please. STEMCAP began in 2016 under the leadership of Dr. Nalini Nadkarni, who is now Professor Emeritus in the School of Biological Sciences. Since 2016, our program has offered more than 750 workshops at youth and custody centers across Utah. We've had more than 200 university and community scientists provide workshops And in this past year, we had more than 230 workshops that we offered inside of youth facilities. And the graphic that you see to the left shows the different kinds of science workshops that we offer. Science right now, art science, objects from nature, conservation, Portal to Science, and STEM after high school, just different versions of science programming that we offer inside. In the next slide, these are a few of our key community partners from the last year. Tracy Aviary, NASA, we held an Eclipse event inside UMOCA, the UMFA, and recently we partnered with the NBA Foundation to begin offering career and college readiness programming to justice-impacted youth. Next slide, please. So our objectives when we are doing STEMCAP programming is to spark student curiosity and increase their confidence in STEM. Oftentimes we're working with young people who have had diverse experiences in their high schools and have maybe negative feelings towards the science. So part of our goal is just to spark that curiosity and make them feel like science is something that is worthy of their time to study, and for them to understand ways that they can think about career and education opportunities through the guest lecturers, the scientists, the professors, the folks in the community who come out and offer these workshops. And then finally, and Molly will talk about this during her part of the presentation, is the ways that they can explore art also as a tool for personal reflection and empowerment. Now, for the remaining few minutes that I have, I'm just going to highlight a few different programs that we've done over the last year. One is this We Are All Water project, which was a workshop series that we offered on drought and pollution and water scarcity in the Great Salt Lake Basin. 130 young people created art projects around this theme under our previous associate director, Laura George, who really spearheaded this project. Here you're seeing those art pieces up at UMOCA. Again, 130 young people participated in this project. Next slide, please. Another programming highlight would be the Sustainable Gardening series that we've done. So here you're seeing a series on indigenous agricultural practices that was at the Mill Creek Youth Center, led by Vicki Lowe. And that was just this past spring. Students learned about indigenous agricultural practices. They created tortillas, and they planted indigenous crops. The Art of Science observation is something that we were really excited about. For the first time ever, we were offering summer camp programming to justice-impacted youth. This was through our partnerships with Tracy Aviary and the UMFA. Here we worked with young people in DSI and they would day skill intervention so that they were able to go on field trips and attend summer camps, what we were calling them, with Tracy Aviary. We really wanted to do this work because of the limited programming that happens inside during summer, and so we kind of focused on this point of the year where we were able to offer new kinds of science workshops. As I mentioned before, through a grant through the MBA Foundation, we've also expanded into thinking about how our program can move beyond just sparking the interest of young people to do more to help them consider what college and career options exist for them after they are released from the facilities. So here you're seeing photographs of Python computer programming that was led by Aaron Wood, an instructor a professor at the University of Utah. So here he's working with girls at the Farmington Bay Youth Center. He did a 16-part workshop on computer programming, and we're trying, within that programming, we are also bringing in speakers to talk about different STEM and computer science options that may exist for those folks who are interested in pursuing this beyond the 16-week workshop. In addition, we've partnered with Dr. Jake Hochhalter in the School of Mechanical Engineering. He's held various internships, so I think this is pretty innovative to give justice-impacted youth an opportunity to either do an internship on site at a youth facility, which he did 2 summers ago, and then this summer he held an internship in his lab for a justice-impacted youth, and then our staff was supporting that young person getting to and from the lab and to work with our instructor to ensure that the needs of our student was being met. In addition, we work with to do field trips to the University of Utah, and here the goal is not just to show them really interesting things that exist on our campus, but also to introduce them to college as an idea, as a concept, and to provide that kind of guidance and encouragement for them to pursue post-secondary education. And we're building this out as part of our relationship with the MBA Foundation to really encourage young people to think about college as an opportunity for them, whether that's Salt Lake Community College, Davis Tech, or University of Utah. We don't have, we're not just selling them on our university. There's a lot of great options here in Utah for our students. Next slide. And now I'm going to pass it over to Molly.
All right, thanks, Andy. We can go to the next slide. So I'm teaching art classes, and I'm going to just walk you through some highlights and some exciting things we're working on in these art classes. The first thing is collaborative artwork, and we have here in the room itself the Jelly Roll portrait pictured here. But in collaborative artwork, students are working together to brainstorm, they're building consensus, we have discussion about all the ideas that they generate. For this particular artwork, I invited students to make a portrait of someone they find inspiring. And so 7 students worked together to choose American singer and songwriter Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll is a 3-time Country Music Television Award winner. He has been nominated for a Grammy, and he was incarcerated as a young person. So students said that he was really inspiring to them because he had a life that they related to, and he was incarcerated and went on to do such amazing things. Next slide, please. Another thing I've been working on is peer exhibitions. So in these images here, I took drawings from Salt Lake Valley Youth Center up to Farmington Bay, and took paintings from Farmington Bay Youth Center down to Salt Lake Valley Youth Center. And then students were able to connect on Zoom with their cameras off and discuss artwork together. So this gives students a practice at articulating the ideas that are in their artwork, discussing it with peers, and just presenting it to other people. And then another part of the work that we're doing with the art program is public exhibitions. So the 3 images on the left are from an exhibition at the Gittins Gallery at the University of Utah. And then the image on the right is from an exhibition at Harvard University called Beyond the Bars. So for these exhibitions, students practice finalizing their artwork, getting it ready to present to other people. For the exhibition at the Gittins Gallery, we were able to Zoom students in, again with cameras off, so that they could witness the artwork on the walls and see all the people appreciating the artwork. And then finally, just a couple explorations that we are investigating with students is like thinking about potentially compensating youth artists, working with Make Salt Lake, a local laser cutting site, to think about entrepreneurial activities. And those are just things that are in the works. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Yeah, so I know there was a lot of information there. There's kind of 2 sides to this wonderful program. Well, 2 sides in one to this wonderful program, with a lot of the, academic sides with the science classes or college and career readiness, as well as the art side. And you can see some of the art here, the giant Jelly Roll collaborative piece behind you on whatever direction wall that is. I'm not sure. East. That's the east wall. Thank you. It's really something to behold, and a wonderful chance for us to get to hear what these students are doing, who are often kind of forgotten about. So I'm glad we've had the opportunity here. If there's any questions specific to the STEM CAP program, or for Andy and Molly specifically, we can open up for that. If not, I'll invite Lori up to present the rest of the artwork.
Questions, comments, Superintendent Dixon?
Unless the board member has a comment. Ooh, trying to breathe. That brings up emotion. Thank you so much. I remember back in 2015 and 16 working with Nalini. I was a deputy at the time and listening to her vision and going out and talking with our youth who are incarcerated and just hearing their dialogue was lacking hope and lacking vision. And Nalini had this vision to bring STEM practices to help them see life outside of incarceration. And now to see it all these years later, how it has just grown exponentially and had such an impact. And Molly, the work of the art, like it's just, I just to see it come to fruition all these years later and be sustained. So it wasn't just about an event, but it's this sustainable program for our most vulnerable youth. And thank you so much to just for not only the vision you have, but the sustainability. I do have a question. Since Jelly Roll is buying a home in Park City and loves Utah, I'm sure everybody's asking you this. Does he know about this? And because I'm pretty sure he would want to make a visit to incarcerated youth. So have you made that contact? If not, I'm happy to negotiate it.
No, that's a great question. I did actually post an image of this artwork on Instagram and tagged Jelly Roll. And we've had a number of people who have tangential connections to him and have tried to reach out. We haven't yet made contact, but fingers crossed. Yeah.
Member Davis, I think, yeah.
Member Straight just leaned over next to me and said, "That is much better than our art." Like, we all tried an attempt at doing something like this too. And your students are probably more talented than we were at the time, but we did okay. I thought. I was just looking across the way at Member Carey's laptop, and there's a sticker on it that said, "Hope lives here." And I was looking at the sticker, but I was listening to your words, and the two were so synonymous in my brain. So thanks for providing hope where maybe sometimes it could feel a little hopeless. And that is what education is about. And thank you for all of the good things that you're doing.
Is that Member Greenslight? Okay.
Yeah, I'm very excited and impressed about what we see here. I worked at a youth correctional facility for a while, and I recognized in those youth that sometimes when they get that low, that they need something that inspires them again. And I see this as a beautiful avenue that can do that for them. When we start to inspire and bring beauty back into dark places, especially in our youth, you see beautiful things. And so I'm really excited to see what you guys are doing and what these kids are doing, that we're giving them an avenue to come back alive again. So thank you.
Yeah.
Many times we're connecting with young people at the very lowest points in their lives, where education may seem like the very least important thing to them. They're worried about a sentence. They're worried about what's happening back home. They're worried about a whole multitude of items that kind of education can be pushed down to that bottom of the priority list. And what I appreciate so much from the folks that I get to work with, like Molly, is that they get to spark that imagination. They get students outside of that kind of limited space where they find themselves into imagining something bigger and beyond. And that work, especially when we're able to bring in the resources of the University of Utah, bring folks to campus, and to kind of continue to build on that spark of something that could be a pathway that's very different from one that they would imagine, if kind of programming like ours wasn't able to connect with them. So thank you for that.
Benji, would you mind a formal introduction of yourself with titles? And I understand we've got staff back there too. Would you mind just kind of giving us an intro to the full crew we have here with us today?
Absolutely. Do you want them to come up?
Sure.
And it says, yeah.
Come up, stand, whatever works. You don't have to. You don't have to give us an.
I'd be happy to introduce you to the best team at USBE.
We won't put you on the spot, but we want to
have-
know who you are and thank you. Yeah.
Yes,
Benji,
we have Amanda Charlesworth, who is our program specialist for Check and Connect specifically. Julia Armstrong, that is educational specialist. She comes from 15 years of experience from DCFS and is a great expert in that. And then we have David Solomey, who comes to us, who's also an education specialist and comes to us from JJYS, has about 15 years experience there as well. So couldn't have a better team of individuals and professionals to support this work and to support this group of children. So, and if I could also just put out, we are in the last year of our contract with STEMCAP. It'll expire at the end of this fiscal year. So in a couple months, you should see on your consent calendar me asking to renew that contract, and would love to have your support in continuing this, because they're a phenomenal group to work with and do so many great things for our kids. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you all for all your work and for being with us.
So then, I would love if our fine arts coordinator, Lori Bayevsky, I see she's joining us. She's going to take us through the rest of the art, in addition to our wonderful STEMCAP art that we have up here. We have some other wonderful art that deserves some recognition. So thanks, Lori.
Thank you, Kelsey, for that introduction. Lori Bayevsky, Fine Arts, and Beverly Taylor Sorensen, Arts Learning Program Coordinator. And Chair Moss, thank you so much for having the whole staff of STEMCAP come up and introduce themselves, Benji's team. They were here for well over an hour yesterday installing this just so. And they came in early this morning to put up the didactics. It's an honor. This is really point and counterpoint. I'm reminded of the Chinese artist's famous quote, Ai Weiwei, and this isn't verbatim, but it's what I remember. It's, art is life, and life is art. And I never distinguish between the two, and isn't that so? The work that STEMCAP is doing, I'm reminded also that the STEAM Action Center is also taking an arts focus, and they're focusing on the STEM Action Center is focusing on STEAM this year, and so I think we've got something going here, and so point counterpoint. Counterpoint over here, we have our Beverly Taylor Sorensen Arts Learning Program from 2 districts. We have Uinta and Alpine represented. And we have 3 disciplines. We have watercolor, photography, and dance. And from the Alpine district, we have 2nd and 5th graders. So we have visual arts. We have Brookhaven Elementary School with Dana Koch, who is the BTS arts teacher there. And to my right over here, of course, we have photography, and this is so interesting. This is our 5th grade class at Brookhaven, and they are looking at the Earth sphere in science. And they learned that there's 4 major spheres. And so while they were learning photographic techniques, they were also learning scientific concepts as well. And after they learned the basics of photography, they were sent out into the field of their school to take images that represented the 4 spheres. And they didn't indicate in their didactics over here on the right what is what, and so I will leave it to your imagination what sphere is represented in each image. The other one from Brookhaven is our 2nd graders, and they did a virtual tour of Arches and Bryce. And so they learned about geology and science, and specifically the focus on core standards was around erosion, and they looked at different monuments and different land masses and the different rates of erosion. And then they had their way with watercolors, and each of them created postcards. And you can enjoy those. And then on the green panel, that is our dancers from Ashley Elementary School in Uinta Schools. And this is a throwback from last winter's 2024 dance show in action. And if you have a minute, the images that were captured are priceless, as is both of these programs. And, you know, we tend to think that we're lucky, and really, I think we just heard how much work goes into sustaining these programs and how important it is for our students and for their learning and for their self-efficacy. So that's it for me.
Superintendent Dixon. Oh, gotcha. Thank you, Lori. Back to you, or is it off to, let's see. Over to you. What's that?
Is there anything else? No, employee of the month. Okay, all right. We'll go with employee of the month. You ready?
Ready. All yours.
I'm waiting for the slide.
Oh.
He's got the slide.
Gotcha.
Okay, we'll wait for. There we go. All right, I am so excited to introduce you to our Employee of the Month. Louise, why don't you come up and you can sit or stand? So as Louise is walking up, I want you to look at this glorious human being. Louise Fry has been with our agency for a few years now. How many years, Louise? 30 years. So one of the things that we are challenged by at times is onboarding of new employees. And with almost 400 employees, it can be a challenge. And Louise has been nominated for the way she cares for her peers. If you've been around 30 years, like a few of us have, you tend to accumulate some knowledge. Well, that's one thing, to hold that knowledge in your head and to have experienced a few things over the years. But Louise holds it in her heart as well as her head. And she shares that knowledge in a variety of ways. So she was nominated by one of her peers who was a fairly new employee, and she talks about the way that Louise not only shared knowledge, but helped her not only accumulate the knowledge, but learn tasks and skills as well. And she shares this example of being in charge of a training for about 70 people, and her power went out. And Louise, who was online, just immediately took over and did this beautiful training because she had the knowledge and skills to do that. I mean, how amazing is that? To be able to just, in a very seamless way, take over when you are meant to be kind of a participant or a support person in the audience. And that's our Louise. Whenever you see Louise in the hall, she has this very calm and graceful way about her. She smiles at everyone, she's kind, and she really sets the tone, not only in her own department of child nutrition programs, but throughout the agency. I know when I see Louise, and I've told her this, this is a bit different version, but when I see Louise, I feel grounded. I feel grounded because Louise is like a pillar in this agency, and she has spent years not only building her skill set, but building her relationships. So if you bring up Louise Fry's name in the agency, everyone knows her, they love her, and we are so honored that she gets to represent us as Employee of the Month. So I introduce Louise Fry to you and congratulate her. Thank you, Louise. We won't even make you give a speech. We just wanted to parade you around, so thank you. Congratulations.
Okay, that concludes. I was just going to note, I ran into Barbie Faust out in the hallway, and she's wrapping up a 30-year tenure with us, and I wanted to say thanks. I don't know if she's around, but I just happened to hear that. And you hear these 30-year tenures, that's a heck of a lot of effort, a lot of kids, a lot of change. So thank you to Barbie, wherever she is out there as well, for all her service. And we wish her the best and appreciate everybody who makes this place work. Does that wrap our? Okay. So, well, thank you to both. All right, let's see.